welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Suazo. Thank you so much for stopping by. In today's video, I'm sharing with you guys how I achieved this makeup look. It's a very, I would call this like a sunset makeup look, but also a smoky eye. I decided to do a little bit of a combination for both because I feel like this is a perfect makeup look for fall. Usually in the fall time, I like to go more so with brown shades and dark tones, but I decided to do something a little bit on the lighter side and on the easier side. It's not a cut crease or anything crazy. It's just a nice little blown out smoky eye. So I hope you guys enjoy this makeup look. If you do, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already so that you don't miss any other videos that I post. I post beauty videos, I post lifestyle videos, and I even post fashion videos. So I hope you guys enjoy this makeup tutorial, and yeah, let's get started with how I achieved this makeup look. I'm gonna go ahead and start with priming my eyes and also cleaning up this brow, and I'm using my Too Faced Born This Way concealer. This is in the shade Almond. Just a brush to start by carving out the brows. I'm gonna use it to prime down here. I'm just gonna drag it a little bit down the center of my eye so that I don't miss anything in case shadows go on there. Blending out the top. After that's all blended out, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use my Derma Blend powder, and I'm just gonna use that to set with powder. Again, because I want the smoothest base possible when applying the eyeshadow. I'm going to be using the Jaclyn Hill palette. I'm going to be using this shadow in the shade Crimsicle on a Morphe M518 brush. And this shadow does take a little bit of time to build up. So I'm going to go in a couple times with this shadow. But I'm just starting. I really like this transition color because it's not too orangey. It's more on the yellow tone side, which I think looks best for this look. Because if it was too orangey, I think that the whole look would be a little bit too on the orange side, but this sets the tone for the rest of the look. And I'm just gonna apply this all over the crease. Once that's all blended out, I'm gonna go in with the shade right next to it, and it's called Butter. It's like a deeper skin tone, and I like this to place under the yellow because it's gonna be a perfect transition for the darker tones that are to come. So I'm using my MAC 217 brush. So I'm just using this brush to really apply this under that yellow shade. And it's okay if you apply some of it on the lid because obviously the lid is going to be covered with a much darker color, but I'm just using this as a transition. So let's go ahead and make sure that we don't lose our yellow tone. So what I'm doing is I'm using the brush that I originally used to blend out the yellow, and I'm just constantly going back to really make sure that my yellow is still popping because we don't want to lose it. Next, I'm going to go in with the shade Roxanne, and this is a very nice like red brick tone. I'm building it up because I need this to be intense as well. So I'm just starting on the outer edge, and then I'm going to drag that in towards the inner parts of the eye. I really like this before going in with the plum because I think it's going to give us a perfect transition. Usually when it's fall time, I like going in with like the dark browns and the golds, but for some reason this fall I've been loving like the orangey plum tones. So that's really what I've been going for this fall, which I really enjoy. I think it's something different that I'm not used to. Every time you apply something, make sure that it's nice and blended before proceeding with what's next. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the shade Jax. It's a beautiful plum. I think this is plum, honestly. I don't know. I'm not really good at describing colors, but I'm using this shade, and I'm just using like a very tapered brush to just really dust that all over the lid. I don't use a base because these shadows are nice and pigmented, so I'm just starting on really the lower part of my lid. I want to make sure that I don't have any bald spots. You know what I mean? Like I'm not missing any spots with shadow. So I'm starting down there first. And then once I feel like that's nice and blended, I can move up towards the crease. So I'm just applying that right by the crease and then just really blending it all out. What I like to do is I'm going to go back in with my MAC 221 brush, and I'm going to apply that Jax color onto the brush and then just dust it off. And I'm going to begin to just blend that into the crease with whatever's on this brush because I want this color to really stand out and be super dark. So that's what we're doing here, is just packing on and blending upwards. I'm even going to begin to use a brush that has no product on it to really make sure that this plum Jack's color is nice and blended. And it's not just, you don't want it to look like just a line of shadow. So you want to really make sure that you're blending. Okay, so once I feel like that's all nice and blended, I know my eyes look super crazy right now. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and highlight the brow bone. And I'm using the Sigma palette. This is the Warm Neutrals palette. And I'm just using this white shade called Sugar Milk. This is going to make a huge difference on the look. And you'll see why. So we're going to go ahead and use our blending brush, the original one that had a little bit of that orange. And we're just going to use that to bring that back to life. So once that's all blended out, I'm going to go ahead and apply my lashes. And honestly, I don't know exactly what lashes these are. I think they are from Forever 21, honestly. But I like to use lashes that are a little bit less dramatic when it comes to dramatic looks, because I feel like if they're less dramatic, then it's not going to hide my eye look. So these are very wispy and very light. I'm just going to coat a little bit of my top lashes with mascara. This is the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise waterproof mascara, and I'm just applying some right like really close to the root of my lash. So once that's all blended, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the face. First off, I'm going to prime the face. Honestly, I'm using the same products that I use in a lot of my videos just because I've been loving these products, and also because I've been loving them. So I'm using my Angel Veil primer. This is by NYX Cosmetics, and I like to apply it. This primer reminds me a lot of the YSL. Is it YSL? I think it's YSL. That primer that they have, I think it's like a velvet primer. I'm not sure, but it reminds me of one of those primers because it really gives me a nice silky foundation to work with. So I also like to bring it a little bit down my neck because sometimes I apply foundation down there, you know what I mean? So for foundation, I'm going to be going in with my all-time favorite foundation, and this is the Tarte Shape Tape Matte Foundation, and I'm in the shade Light Medium Neutral. So I like to work in sections with this foundation because I feel like it does get patchy if you leave it on for too long without spreading it. So I'm just going to work in sections with it. So I'm just going to be blending it out on this side of the face. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and go in with concealer. For concealer, this is the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Almond. So I like to apply a very generous amount of this concealer. I'm also going to use a tiny bit on my forehead, down the bridge of my nose, and then I'm just going to use my Real Technique sponge to really blend all of this out. Okay, I'm just blending everything out. I look crazy. So once all of that is all blended out, I'm using my Derma Blend loose powder, and I'm going to use that to set the areas that I highlighted. This is honestly one of my favorite powders ever. I'm going to be using my Graftobian HD palette. This palette is destroyed, okay? It's so messy and messed up, but I'm just going to be using this shade on the bottom left here. This is a foundation. It's not just a cream, so it doesn't really take away any of my coverage. So I like to blend out my cream contour with a stippling brush. And then I'm using just a brush to just really pat away at all of the powder that's on my face because it's kind of a lot. For bronzer, I'm going to be using a very old school bronzer that I used to use all the time. I'm using my Smashbox contour palette, and I'm using the middle shade Bronze. I used to love this palette so much. I used to use it all the time, and I just love the bronzer shade. Like, I just really, really love it. So then I'm just going to use a brush to really blend all of this out. This is my Sephora Micro Smooth powder. This is in the shade Claire Light. I'm going to really pack this on and just place it in the areas that I highlighted because I feel like it kind of, I still have a lot of like white powder, but I want to set it with this powder so that it, just so that like my under eyes don't look white, but they look like more of my skin color. I'm using this powder to really just even out my tone so it's not, my complexion isn't too harsh. And then going in with some Derma Blend powder, I'm just gonna clean this up because I realize it is very harsh, but don't worry, okay? You can always clean up. And then I'm just gonna take it off. Now I'm going to go ahead and go in with highlight. And for highlight, I'm going to be using my all-time favorite highlighter. That is my Laura Geller Gilded Honey Highlight. So I'm using my Pixi Glow Mist, and I'm just going to spray this onto my brush before I go in to the face. I love this highlighter so much. I apply some also a little bit on the forehead just to create that even glow. To contour my nose, I'm using this Morphe brush, and then I'm just using my Smashbox powder bronze palette, the one that I used originally. And I'm going to use the middle shade bronze to really just bronze up my nose and contour my nose a little bit so it looks a little bit more proportional to my face. So now that I feel like my nose is kind of contoured out, I'm going to try to fix it because it kind of looks weird with the highlight. So I'm going to highlight the tip of my nose. I'm going to highlight the bridge of my nose. Now I'm going to be going in with blush, and I'm using my MAC blush. This is in the shade Pinch Me. It's really nice. I just think it's really that nice fall flush for the face. Just going to apply that on the tops of my cheeks. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish the eyes. Alright, so first I'm going to go ahead and go in with eyeliner. I'm using the NYX Eye and Eyebrow Pencil. This is in basically black. So I'm going to use that to place that on the waterline. Once that's on the waterline, I'm basically going to be using the same shadows that I used on the eyes, just on the bottom lashes. Using my Sigma E30 pencil, I'm going in with just that orangey shade that we used. And I'm going to use this to really blend out the black liner. Once that's there, I'm going to go in with the shade Roxanne, and I'm just going to use that to really blend that black out. And all the brushes I'm using are super tight. Are super precise, so it's going to really allow me to blend out that black. And finally, we're going to go in with the star of the show, which is Jax. Oh my gosh, my eyes get so sensitive when I use like lower lash shadows. I'm just going to use a more fluffy brush to blend it out. And of course, to really finish off the eyes, I'm going to use mascara on my lower lashes. It makes the world of a difference, honestly, on an eye look. So I always like to apply lower lash mascara. So for the lips, I'm going to start off by lining my lips, and I'm using the NYX Matte Lip Liner, and this is in the shade Sandstorm. So I'm just going to use this to really line my lips. Once I line my lips with that, I'm just going to go ahead and use my Anastasia Beverly Hills Butterscotch lip gloss, and I'm just going to apply that to the center of the lips. And then just going to blend it out. To set my face and just give me a little bit more hydration, I'm going in with my Pixi Glow Mist, and this has argan oil in it, just to give my skin some hydration. Alright, so that's basically it for this makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And that's basically it. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!